You guys are in Atlanta? Is that where you're from?
Yeah.
I heard there was an earthquake in New York City. Did you guys probably too far to feel that earthquake, huh?
Uh, I talked to my cousin. He has some friends over from New York. Well, that doesn't matter. He's in Texas. But yeah, I heard that it actually. My cousin informed me that New York has the most recorded earthquakes in America. I didn't know if I
What?
believed that,
I
but
know that.
maybe because
Crazy.
they're not, you know, they count as earthquakes, but they're not like California big. So
I had no idea. I didn't think that there were earthquakes in New York City. You
I
never
didn't know.
hear about it
Mm-hmm.
That's
until
scary with all
today.
the
Like,
Yeah.
skyscrapers.
like all my Facebook friends that live in New York, are like, did you just feel that? We just had an earthquake. Like, whoa. But it's
Wow.
crazy. Like so I live in California. Of course, we get earthquakes
Nice.
out here, but we recently had like a hurricane warning a couple months ago, which has never happened, like the first time ever
Oh,
in California. So weather's crazy, man. I don't know. I don't know what's going
yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's the my
It's the
boyfriend knows all about
apocalypse.
it. He follows all the whatever it's called, the wave how the wave patterns are. I don't know what they're called.
Seismic,
Something.
Wow,
whatever.
man.
He knows the science and he's
It's
fascinated
like
how.
that movie 2012. Remember when everybody thought the world was going to end in 2012?
Was that the one with Brad Pitt?
No, I think it
No.
was Jake Gyllenhaal on that. Or was that Day After
Oh,
Tomorrow?
Day After Tomorrow was Jake Gyllenhaal, but I didn't
Jake
see
Gyllenhaal.
2012 actually.
2012. Yeah, they're like the Mayans predicted in the Mayan calendar that
Yes.
the world was going to end in 2012. So everybody was freaking the fuck out. Of course, the
Hmm.
world didn't end, but they made a movie about it. It's kind
Yeah,
of
of
stupid.
course. Yeah, Y2K had all those disaster movies.
And I'll probably
And
talk about it on my show when I reach the year 2012, no doubt. But I'm here today to talk with Kip and Dana from the Kip and Dana from the Horror Hussies podcast.
the horde. Excuse
Or
me.
whatever.
The horde.
um, yes,
Not horde.
about Night of the Living Dead,
Yeah.
1990.
Yes.
Not 1968,
No.
1990. But real quick before we talk about the movie, now I said you guys are from the Horror Hussies podcast, which is a kind of a tongue twister. Say that 5 times fast.
Horror
Horror
hussies, horror
Hussies.
hussies, horror hussies, horror hussies, horror hussies.
Can you tell me what is Horror Hussies about? What do you guys do over there?
We just go off on a bunch of tangents on horror movies that we want to cover. Basically, our style is kind of like we kind of go
Yeah.
scene by scene. We give you some background, some fun facts.
And it'll usually like spark like a memory, like and then we're like, oh my God, that makes me think of this and this.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. And plus we speak about horror through our lens, growing up Latina and Black, and like how that representation in movies, how those characters reflect like our experiences as women and stuff. We had AI recently describe what we're about, and they were pretty nice.
Oh,
AI, I have to, they gave a very intelligent, like,
I know
you
it
know,
sounds so
yeah, it made it sound
official.
so great. It's like they dive into movies while tackling social and economic. I'm like, oh, really? Like,
We
oh,
do. Yes.
I don't know. AI, AI was like,
wow.
giving a lot of praise. It's like, wow, okay, I guess that's what we do.
We do
I'll
try to like
take it.
every month like do a theme like if it's Pride Month or Black History Month, whatever. We try to include a
Yeah,
movie featuring
yeah,
whatever that ethnicity or whatever
yeah.
director actor.
Women's. The next one coming up is Asian American Pacific Islander in
Nice.
May, I believe.
Yeah.
And I saw that you did a Black History Month feature as well.
I did.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like your stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
like I said, we're like, your stuff,
Well, I'm old. I'm
and
old.
How old are you?
I checked. I was listening to one of your podcasts. You were 18 in 1990,
Yeah,
right?
so
Yes.
the whole premise of
So
Cradle to
whatever
the
that is.
Grave is I start I started in 1971, the year I was born. Cradle,
Hmm.
right? And then I'm
Hmm.
going to finish the podcast when I die to the grave, which
Nice, awesome
hopefully I never
concept.
die, won't die for a while, but yeah, so I started in 71. So I'm 52 years old. Turn 53 in a couple of months. So, but I'm young at heart because horror keeps people young at heart. I truly believe like people that like horror or stuff that we enjoyed when we were kids, it sort of keeps us youthful looking,
Yeah.
or we try at least. I mean, I have a lot of gray hair, so that's not gonna fooling it
No, no,
down.
no.
But
It's very dashing. Very dashing.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, Horror Hussies sounds awesome. You reached out to me about the Hellraiser 2. Is that right? Is
Yeah,
that
I saw you post something. Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, but like looking for a last minute guest, and I was like, oh, yeah, we've been wanting to try to, collaborate with other podcasters as well lately. So
yeah, and I of course I found somebody else for the Hellraiser 2, but I was glad you guys reached out because I checked out your site and the podcast and I liked what I heard so far. And so I was like, hey, well, I don't have Hellraiser 2 available, but if you guys want to come on and talk about Night of the Living Dead, and you're like,
Yeah.
yes, we will. I'm like, cool. So here
yeah,
you are. It's awesome to have you here. Thank you
thank you
so
for having
much.
us. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
And as always, with my first time guests, I like to ask them about their own personal history with the horror
Okay.
genre, kind of about when it all started for you. When did your love for the horror genre begin? So, Dana, I'll start with you. When did you know that the horror genre was the genre for you?
Um, Sometime in the early 80s when I was a kid, I guess. Back then they would always have like a horror movie on Saturday afternoon, just regular programming. So me and my brother would catch like Freddy Krueger. He was probably my favorite, so more so. And I still haven't been in, maybe you might know this movie, but I saw this one. We were just flipping the channels one day and there was a scene of a pregnant woman in her hospital room with a nurse, and this baby like starts to come out of her stomach, like stretch out and like, eat its way out. And I screamed and I was crying. My mom's like, turn it off, turn it off. And but I always wondered what that was.
Yeah.
And The Exorcist too. That was another big one that scared the shit out of me. So, and I was just like, ooh, I kind of like being scared. you
At
know,
The Exorcist 2 or The Exorcist as well as the pregnant lady one?
as well as
Oh, okay. I was
Sure.
gonna say
First one.
we got
and
scared
that
by the
other one.
The
sequel to
second one,
that.
let's not talk about that. Some people have their own views on that.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of the movie with the pregnant lady with the baby that
Yeah.
now did this
She's
baby
been
like
asking
burst
everybody.
out of the belly?
Hmm.
Yeah, it like stretched out, like it stretched her belly out, and then
Oof.
like just like ate its way out of the belly or something, and splattered the nurse with some blood. And I
Wow.
still like my mom made us turn the
And you
TV
saw
so
this on
fast.
TV?
It's the
Yeah,
80s and nothing was
yeah,
on
nothing was
That's
television
censored
then.
true.
back.
That's true.
Nothing.
I saw some fucked up shit on Channel 2 on Chiller Theater in the 80s because they just didn't they figured nobody was going to be watching Chiller Theater at midnight.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
guess what? Little Eric
guess
was.
what? Yeah, yeah.
That's when you fell in love.
Sneak out of the bedroom at night and turn the TV back on.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
Right
yeah,
on. So Dana, from then on, you kind of just were attracted to the genre, and you just kind of
yeah.
filled your
I
head with
love.
more stuff.
Yeah, I really love gore.
Mm.
I think my uncle too. He's a retired like fire medic. And so he would send me all these fucked up pictures, not from his work site, but just whatever was on rotten.com back in the 90s when the
Whoa.
internet came out.
Yeah, yeah.
And so and I got like really kind of obsessed with like special effects and gore. So that's kind of my favorite. So I do a little bit of for fun, like uh special effects makeup. In the past I did. I want to get back into
Yeah, I
it
think she's
again.
really good. Yeah.
It's fun.
Hmm.
But
That's
yeah.
awesome. You ever watch those Faces of Death movies?
Yes,
Where
me and my roommates back in the day. Ugh. Whew.
Oh man, I know. I used to work at a video store in the 90s, and that shit rented out like hotcakes. Like
Same
everybody.
here. Blockbuster. I was a Blockbuster for many years.
Did Blockbuster
Yeah.
rent the Faces of Death? They were allowed to do that?
Not that I remember,
I don't
no.
think so. That was
Our,
like,
our horror section consisted of maybe 15 videos. So
Yeah, I worked at like a mom and pop one, so we got all the crazy stuff that
nice.
that was banned from Blockbuster. So,
Nice.
you would love.
um,
There's a
hmm,
like a mom and pop shop here in Atlanta called Videodrome, and they
Yeah.
have a
oh,
ton of
nice.
obscure
Hmm.
movies,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, it's
That's such a
amazing.
rarity these days, but I miss going to those video stores because I still collect physical media. I still walk down the street
Yeah.
to my local comic book store and check out the comic book racks. So man,
Yeah,
I
I
miss
regret I
them.
regret giving away all my VHSs to book nook where for a few bucks. It's like maybe I
Yeah,
should have kept them. Yeah.
I know. So, Kip,
Yeah.
what about you? When did your love for horror start?
Like I said, my experience is not very unique to others because I'm an 80s child as well. So, there's three channels, so we're all watching the same content. And yeah, it was the Freddy Krueger movies. Like the fact that like I was 5 years old in bed and going to sleep was like, wow, this motherfucker can get me in my sleep. Like that was a whole nother level of psyche
Oh, for
that was just
sure.
brilliant. And but
Yep.
I would, laugh at it during the daytime, like watching the movies. I'm like, because he always has these stupid little quip remarks and stuff. But then I couldn't go to sleep. And plus also, I guess like when your parents like forbid you to do something, it makes you want to do it more. So
Absolutely.
I grew up very religious. So like my mom, I don't know what it was about me, but she thought that I would bring spirits into the house with
Mhm.
the material where she would always throw away my books and my comics, anything that was like horror related, and I would just go get it again and hide it somewhere else. But yeah, so that's where the my love it started, and definitely like Dana gore is my favorite genre. I guess as an adult, the series that really captured me. I have not been scared shitless yet by a movie. I'm waiting. Maybe Centipede 2. Maybe that one was the one. Centipede 1. I think that one was the one's like, oh yeah, this is good. That's
Uh,
good. Centipede and the Saw series are like top gem for me.
I've only
So
seen
yes,
Human Centipede 1.
I've seen them all in theaters, all of
Did
them,
Oh,
you?
one, two, and
lucky.
three. Yeah, the
Wow.
last one I believe is a prison one, and all the prisoners are Centipede together. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, those movies are crazy.
yeah,
That's great. So
Yeah.
yeah.
you like the extreme stuff though, huh? Is that
Hmm.
why do you feel that is? Is it kind of just
Are
tap
you my
into
therapist? Where you I'm like, yes, well,
Yes, I didn't,
That's
I didn't tell you about the
why is
therapy
that?
part of
How did
the
you feel
therapy
about
portion of the podcast.
that?
Tell me. I know I always ask my guests.
Yeah,
I want to know why we are as horror fans. We all
that's a
seem why are we attracted to this crazy fucked up gore shit when most of us are pretty even kill, nice,
yeah,
empathetic people, but
yeah.
yet we like to watch people being sewn to assholes.
Yep.
Why? Why?
That's a
Need
question
Kip,
we've asked
explain it
ourselves.
to me.
We've asked ourselves this. It's like,
Why do we keep going
why
back?
do we keep going back? Like, it's just, the mind is a mystery, and I can't wait from 1,000 years from now until they find out all the secrets and what makes us tick. But there's something about the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, that our mind craves, and I don't know, it just does it for me. I guess it repels other, but I don't. I'm gonna say this to make myself feel better. The ladies who are watching Deadly Women at Night and stuff like that, and all those true crimes, I think we're more stable than maybe someone else who's maybe goes to Disney every year and gets married there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, they're fine. They're fine. They're fine. But like, I don't know. I think we're normal, more normal.
I
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of like true crime podcasts
Same.
and
Yeah.
I watch like all the Netflix, docu-series about
Yeah.
these mass murderers or people that are killing
Hmm.
people. Guess what? Those are the ones the fucked up people do go to Disneyland to get married. It's
Yes.
you never
Yes.
see or watch
Or be clowns. The
you
community
never hear
clown,
you
like
never hear
Gacy.
about like the killer was a huge horror fan. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
No.
talking about? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe Jeffrey Dahmer did like Exorcist 3 a little too much. All right, maybe we won't talk about that. But
Yeah.
for the most part, whenever you watch these true crime stuff, it's, the normal guy next door who goes shops at Walmart and watches, Mr. Rogers or
Yeah,
whatever.
you're right. I
It's
think you're
never the
right. It's
guy who
like,
loves the thing or whatever.
yeah, it's the suppressing those feelings, and we get to let that side of our brain
There you
out,
go. There you
or when
go.
we watch all that shit
We
to
figured it
unwind.
out. We figured it out why we like
Thank you.
horror.
You're a good therapist. Can I hurry? We
I'm
figured it
gonna,
out.
I'll
We
charge
meet
you.
on a
I'm gonna
weekly
charge you
basis.
later.
Yes. Okay.
I'll send you the bill.
Okay. Next week we'll talk about my mother. I might take a few sessions, but
No, I do want to talk about your mother because you said that you grew up in a religious household.
yeah, I
So
was.
many, so many horror fans. I myself, I grew up in a Christian household. Like you, my mom thought I was gonna go to hell because I was reading Stephen King, and she threw away all my Stephen King books. I had to
Yeah.
like smuggle that shit in.
I had some first print edition Anne Rice books, not first print, but pretty expensive, beautiful Anne Rice books that I bought, and she threw them away. And
Barbara.
yeah,
God.
I grew up Jehovah's Witness. It's a little different. It is a type of Christianity, but
Yeah.
it's yeah.
But you know, I grew up in the height of the Satanic Panic. I was in smack dab in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like I was primed for that. And I am not a Satanist. You know what I mean? But I listened to
I'm
shit
gonna-
backwards to see if there was any messages. Like I want to
Oh,
listen
that's
to
fun. Yeah.
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 I want to
Jim
hear
Jones.
what Satan has to say. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will admit he has a good sell. He is
Yeah.
he sells a good package. That's very
Yeah.
appealing. I will say
Yeah.
that.
I grew up
Yeah.
next to Southern Baptist trauma, and I just started listening to Twin Temple because they came to town, and
Oh,
I was just
yeah.
like, oh,
They're like satanic
they're,
hillbillies, right?
Yeah.
they're from California though, I think, and I was just like, God damn, I love this music. I'm not a Satanist, but like, God, I just love doo-wop so much, you know?
Yeah,
And
my music reflects that too. Like a lot of Nine Inch Nails. Of course, our era, so all the music artists were listening to in the '90s end up killing themselves. So so yeah, I guess it's all in the vein. I don't know.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, eventually we have to talk about this movie. We're running out of time.
Okay, let's do
I
it.
know we're on a
Okay.
time crunch.
I know. Okay. Night of the Living Dead from 1990. I'm not even going to talk about the synopsis because it's the same fucking movie from 1968.
Hmm.
It's the same. There is no change. Well, there's some changes, but for the most part, script was written by George A. Romero, who directed the first movie from 1968. But this time we have Tom Savini, who
Yes.
directed this film. Now, if you don't know
Special
who
effects
Tom
guy.
Savini is, you need to go listen to another podcast because this is not the podcast for you. Of course, Tom Savini is the master of special effects, mostly well known for Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th, Day of the Dead. His stuff in the 80s blew me away. Dawn of the Dead from 1978 is one of the big reasons I'm a horror fan, and one of my memories that sticks in my mind the most. That first zombie bite, the zombie on the stairs in the Dawn of the Dead, where that lady the man bites the lady's shoulder, and I'd never seen anything like that. I was like 12 years old or something, and
Yeah.
I was just like, how did they do
It
that? And
looks so real.
so yes, Tom Savini is a master, but is he a master director?
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh,
Debatable, I
you're
guess.
asking.
So tell me, Kip and Dana. Now, had you seen this remake before?
No, and I'm kind of glad that you kind of made me watch this because it's been in the back of my brain, and I knew about it, and I think there's a reason why. Let's just say, according to audience, that it's not in the forefront of a lot of people's mind when it comes to the top horror movies. So I watched it for the first time recently. What about you, Dana? Have you
I
seen it
think
before?
I might have seen it in my 20s, maybe, but I didn't remember a lot. But I remember I was like, oh yeah, Candyman.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah,
And
Tony
I was like,
Todd's in the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, Tony Todd.
So
Yeah.
this was kind of unfamiliar to both of you. What did you think after your watch?
I was impressed with the contact lenses for 1990. I thought they were very good as far as like
Yeah, I
special
did like
effects.
that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And I always get anxiety about like zombie movies anyway, like being trapped somewhere because 28 Days Later fucked me up back when I saw it in theaters. And so it was like watching that again in a way, and I was just screaming at the
Yeah.
screen the whole time, like, why haven't
No.
you boarded up windows yet? Why haven't you boarded up windows yet?
No.
But I thought it was interesting. I could see a lot of reflections for like what Walking Dead did with it, like Negan's camp and everything, you know. I was just like, okay, I see it.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. For me, I'm really into music for a film and what drives the music for a film.
Mhm.
And the music just sounds so cheap for me. It cheapened the film for me.
I agree.
Compared to the first one. But then again, movies in a different era kind of like you'll like them better because they're older. So I tried to be fair that this is 1990. The fashion's not great, music's not great, but it gave me like soundtracks from like I don't know Tales from the Prep episode or something. It just wasn't matching,
Right.
something for a grand scale where the original really made those points with the music to describe the scene. So the music annoyed me. I try to get past it to give a fair judgment. Yes, the spiritual effects. I thought the zombies looked really good. Um, I don't know. And different from the first one, I see that he kind of made the women characters more assertive and with plan
Yeah.
versus the older one. Because the older one, in the second one, the woman could drive the truck and take care of it, and then all of a sudden, this girl who she becomes like very like Sarah Connor all of a sudden. Right. Like I don't know where she got her combat pants from. She had that, and then in a later scene, she gets picked up by these guys, which I thought were going to rape her. That's where our mind goes. Like when it's lawless land, purge setting. But no, she just wakes up in more clothes in a van in a hard washed jean jacket with shoulder pads. So, but I got like her character. I'm wearing a skirt. I'm in damsel in distress. Now I'm taking charge. But I just found it funny that like no one will listen to the women and let the women's opinion of what to do, which may be better, is never taken into consideration. It's always the man that is going to take charge, no matter if the results are bad. But
Yeah.
I thought it was. I tried to be fair, but if I had to compare, I did not think it lived up to the first one. I felt they missed the mark with certain dialogue and moments that were in the first one that they didn't demonstrate in the second one. But I did like when they hung the three bodies hanging from the tree. I thought that was very clever. I thought that was very triggering for me because
absolutely, yeah.
The history that we know with that can make your mind go to all kinds of things. Lynching, Wild West, all that kind of thing. So that was a very triggering scene. So I thought that was done well.
For sure. There's definitely a nod to the 68. There's a couple of nod. Well, the whole movie is a nod to 68, but specifically in 1968 during the civil rights era, having a black man be the protagonist who makes it to the end of the film. He takes charge. He's slapping white women.
Yeah.
So 68 Living Dead, I mean, that is a seminal movie, not just horror movie, but a movie that kind of changed the game.
Do you know, you know how important it was for to see, like, I believe in Mr. Tibbs, in The Heathen Night, there's a scene where the character slaps the white officer.
Yeah.
And that scene was taken out of movies across the world. And
wow.
It changed because they knew how important that was for us to see that on screen. So I noticed they changed that. Like I got a kick out of him slapping the white woman. And then the new one, I guess slapping women was uncouth maybe by 90. I'm not sure. So they made the bad guy in the movie do it instead of the main character. I don't know.
Yeah. What'd you think of the end? They really changed. This movie stays on track for the most part until the end. So what about the end where there's kind of a twist on this end? Something that happens to Tony Todd.
Well, he does get shot. Like in the first one, he did end up dying in the first.
He ends up getting
killed.
He dies from his gunshot wounds.
But in the first one, the cops shoot him.
The cops think he's a zombie in the first one.
The cops think he's a zombie.
He's a survivor. Not. But they shoot him and then they throw him on the fire. They've got another
throw him on the
fire. Right. But in this one, he gets killed. He dies, turns into a zombie, and then Barbara shoots him. Or not Barbara. Yeah. Does she shoot him? I can't remember. Actually Barbara shoots Harry. She shoots Harry, the villain.
Yeah, the villain.
Which I thought I really liked,
And then she discovers him as a zombie. Yeah.
I think one of the hillbilly guys shoots Tony Todd.
Shoots Tony Todd. So I mean that was interesting to see the kind of mix it up a little bit. So this is actually the second time I've seen this film. I watched it when it came out on video the first time, back in the 90s.
Video VHS?
Yeah.
VHS?
Yeah. Ooh, didn't see it in the theater. I think it played in the theater for like one day. But I remember liking it. I didn't love it, right?
Mhm.
And that feeling still holds today. I watched this, last week. I like it, but I don't
I like
love
it.
it. You know,
Yeah.
I do like how Tom Savini, he doesn't try to be flashy with the camera. He kind of just lets the action play out. It's a very most of his camera is static shots, right? He kind of just lets the action play out as if we're a fly on the wall and we're so I really kind of like the first time Barbara enters that farmhouse in the beginning and the zombies just sort of shamble out into the frame like there's no
Mhm.
big deal, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's kind of eerie, like
It
Mhm.
is.
I liked it. There was no big fanfare or zombie and flashy camera moves and tilty angles. It was just
Mhm.
like,
Or
here
the
I
swelling of
am
music.
coming to get
Now, sorry,
you.
I need the music. I was
Yeah.
disappointed in the music.
The
You're
Oh my
just
music,
like,
you're
God.
right. The music was, it was cheesy, man. It was cheesy.
This
I was,
KCO 84 sit setting.
yes,
I don't
Maria.
know. Whatever. No.
were you
Yeah.
expecting this film to be gorier than it was? Because it wasn't too gory.
Um, no, but I was disappointed when the daughter became a zombie. The kill scene in the first one was more built up, and this one wasn't. But I think it was just the right amount of gory.
Yeah.
So I'm
Mhm.
not mad. I'm not mad at it.
I
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
was expecting it to be more just because Savini was involved, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because of
if you've
his
seen
expertise. Yep.
Day of the Dead is his masterpiece. That is my favorite zombie movie of all time, and it has the best zombie gore.
All time.
Practical, yes,
Oh,
all times.
okay.
Day of the Dead, it's awesome. So I was a little disappointed, like wasn't as gory as I was hoping, but
Mm-hmm.
it was fine. It was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So, and I think they did that. They wanted to be respectful to the original because the original, it does have a little bit of some gore, like people walking around with a liver that they got from the butcher.
Yeah, I saw that. And as gritty it was, I saw that. I wish they dealt more into like the shock before and after. Like there's the young girl in the first one, she's like recalling a story with her brother in the graveyard and like just describing a normal day, like before all that happened. I like to see the transition of like who these you just know who these characters are before crisis and how they are after really plays through, which is always a theme that is recurred in anything. There's the bad guy, the selfish guy, the one's gonna take charge. And so I do like seeing that carried across in general in zombie movies with people and their character and having to deal with human monsters and real monsters
Mhm.
that Rod Serling does so well in many Twilight Zone episodes that I saw inspired from those kind of themes. So yeah.
Well, do you want to hear what Siskel and Ebert thought of Night of the Living
I've
Dead?
been listening. They are harsh. They're hard. They're back. They're
Hear it.
harsh critics. They hated
Hey,
Fifth Element. I
they
loved it.
they reviewed this film back in 1990 on their show At the Movies. Let's take a listen. Well, two thumbs down. Oh
Oh,
man, didn't see that coming.
shocking.
Yeah, I read that they didn't get great reception at first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, this movie kind of didn't get a lot of love back in 1990.
Is
It
there love now?
there is
Yeah.
some contemporary views that kind of praise it for what it was trying to do, but a lot of them are saying just watch the original. It's better. It's the same movie,
Yeah.
right? It's the same
Uh,
story. So, oh
yeah.
well, guess you can't win them all. But what
Yeah.
about you, Kip and Dana? What is your final word on Night of the Living Dead 1990?
What's your? You go first. I don't know. You go first. I don't know.
I like the subtlety of, to me, for like, because I love a good zombie movie. Like I was saying, like 20 Days Later like fucked me up so bad. So like, and it was their eyes, like the
Mm,
contacts.
yeah,
I mean, yes, 20 Days Later was very gory, but the fact that they didn't have to do all that, but they still had those immaculate contact lens, for me, made it as scary as if to replace the gore in a way. I liked it. I liked it for what it was in the 90s. I will say that. I was screaming, like I said, I was screaming at the screen the whole time, trying to like get them to board everything up. And yeah, it wasn't my favorite zombie movie, but I appreciate it for what it was from back then,
for sure,
Mhm.
Yeah.
for sure.
Uh, What was the question again? I have to ask me.
Just your final word. What is your final
Oh, yes.
thoughts? Yes.
Um, I judged it fairly. Music is a must for me, and that ruined what could have been better for me. I did appreciate some of the differences, like with the hanging bodies and stuff.
Mhm.
But it is not bad, but I felt it could have been better. I don't know. That wasn't very eloquent, but yeah,
No,
I
that's
say give it a
perfect.
watch. Give it a watch. Dana, I guess, was more scared shitless because zombie movies are not my thing. Like, it's not gonna happen. I'm not worried about.
Don't know. I
She
can't
works. She
say
works.
where I used to work, but it was on The Walking Dead. And
It's
yeah, it
not
was
gonna
just
happen.
I'm
That's
like, you don't know. We never got the answer.
okay. The most parallel, real quick, I will say, watching these kind of movies during COVID
Hmm.
is scary because when they were playing on the news, like how to stay safe, when we were going
Yeah.
through in real life in
Yeah.
COVID, they're trying to explain what this is, the best thing you can do, stay indoors, and even how to treat the dead, like in the movie, like burn the bodies. And then with COVID,
That's a
you couldn't
good
even
point.
see your loved ones who were dying. Like you can't see them,
Yeah.
you can't touch them. So with that, that is the closest parallel to something that was real. Hearing something on the news and the world falling apart and what you're gonna do. But I don't know. I do love watching. I did love watching those type of movies during COVID because I guess I'm fucked up, but I get myself more scared. But yeah, yeah, I say give it a watch. It's not the best, but I
Yeah.
appreciate some moments.
And I think that's the consensus overall is it's not a bad movie. It's just kind of there. It's
Yeah.
It's
here's a zombie
here.
movie.
It's bold though. It's bold to take on an original, as many people are doing now with Liberties, The Crow, all kinds of movies. They're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna fuck your originals up. Don't worry about it. It might be good, it might not. But like that's bold just to say I'm gonna remake the godmother of all movies. Like
Did you ever see the shot for shot remake of Psycho that Gus Van Sant did?
in
Like
the 2001 with the
Vince
yes, I
Vaughn.
did.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
What was the
What
point of
did you
that?
think?
I thought
Huh?
it was pointless. Like again, just watch the original
Tell me,
Psycho.
am I was I seeing something, or was there a masturbation scene that was not in the original?
No, I think it was in the original. It's just very implied in the
Implied.
remake. In the remake,
It's very
there's sound effects, right?
sound effects. So that
But that's what
okay.
Norman Bates was doing in the original. Like that's what those holes were for.
Yeah.
So, but you
Yeah,
couldn't
that's
show that in
true. You're right. That
1960.
was implied. That was implied. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Eh.
Yeah. Hey,
eh. Meh.
hey, eh. That's gonna be my final word on Night of the Living Dead 90.
Okay.
Eh.
We're a little clumped. Give us a couple seconds. Talk amongst yourselves.
I know.
This was an awesome chat, Kip and
Yeah.
Dana. Thank you so much. Lots of fun.
You.
Can't wait for you to come back, chat about another horror movies from the 90s with me. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Love
All
to.
right.
All right.
Cool.
Good.
We'll see you next
Hey.
time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.